There's a feeling that you have when you first fail or don't do what you want to do it's really bad. Like, no human wants to be in that position. I think getting stuck is a big topic because it's universal. So there's a lot of research showing that organizations and individuals are stuck constantly. So I've been doing a survey where I ask people, is there an area of your life in which you feel stuck? And I do the same with businesses. There is no person and no business that says no to that question. The first thing to do is to figure out what that feels like, deal with it, discuss it, make sure everyone's on the same page, you kind of agree about where you are. Then the next thing is to strategize, to come up with some mental tools that can help you. And I talk about a lot of those ideas in the book. But only then, after that, do you get to the point of action, of acting, of doing things. And so it's really the third part of this process that I describe in the book. But often people rush to that third part before going through the, I think, critical emotions that come from the first two. It's a really interesting question. I've found that being stuck is a universal experience. So everyone experiences it at least sometimes. I think people who demand more of themselves tend to feel stuck more often. A friend of mine, his father is a math professor. So he studied mathematics and he's been working on the same problem for 30 years. Most of us would say by definition that we are stuck if we are doing something for 30 years. But if you find something you're passionate about and you really enjoy, it doesn't matter that you're not getting to some sort of end goal, as long as the journey is really enjoyable. So I think people tend to feel stuck more often when they're doing something that they're not passionate about and they don't enjoy. Yeah, the creative cliff illusion is this idea that a lot of us have, this illusion that a lot of us have, that the longer we try to be creative on some topic, the worse our ideas become. They fall off a cliff. You might think that the first few ideas you have are your best ones, whereas once you get to idea 10, 11, 12, 13, it gets more difficult, and so your ideas get less good. Actually, the research shows the opposite, that once things get difficult, once it's difficult to come up with those ideas, that's when they start to get better and more interesting. Because the easy ones are the same ideas that everyone's having. They're pretty boring. But the really interesting ideas come after we keep pushing when things get hard. And so instead of there being this creative cliff, there's a sort of creative launch pad where over time, the more you strive for good ideas, the more likely they are to come. Yeah, it's a good question. You know, a lot of people ask, should I continue on? Should I persevere or should I quit? And there are books written about both of those. I think one question to ask yourself is, are you getting closer to some goal that is desirable? So are you converging or getting closer to something that you want to be close to? Are you improving? If it's a skill like an athletic pursuit, or you're learning a language, or whatever it is that you're doing, if it feels like you're getting closer to a goal, then it's probably something that's worth continuing. If it feels like you're just sort of stagnating, you're not making progress, or indeed sometimes you're diverging from the goal, you're getting worse, then it's time to probably move on. But there's a feeling that you have when you first fail or don't do what you want to do it's really bad. Like, no human wants to be in that position. So yes, I think there's a lot of education involved, and that could begin early on. So I think kids should be taught in school what resilience means, and that it's okay not to do your best every time. That's not what it means to sort of achieve and to strive. There's going to be an up and a down and an up and a down, and that's just a natural part of the way things work.